I kind of like the not super green ones. Grass is grass, smells nice. There we go. Okay. I don't see grass as grass, do you?
See grass.
That's from a long time ago. All right, it's okay. Let's just give it another little. Bear with me. Let's see. Nope, it didn't save. Oh, it's in my Alamo files. That's why. By the way, I did tell you all that was done, right?
No, it's on my desk.
I'm finally free of that for 6 months. I don't have to worry about it. Grass is grass, here it is. Change the image. Okay.
It's like purple.
Alright, so I'll do that. What do we do? Export. No, I don't want to replace it, so I need to call this one.
The 512 pixels is fine.
It's 300 DPI at 100%. So that's going to be a 24 by 36 image. No, it is not 512 pixels. That's grayed out, so it's not telling. I could fit it to a set piece of pixels. So this image is freaking out because I just put in an image of grass, and this is, if I zoom in here.
Oh my god.
Yeah. All right. So Photoshop, we've got our first one. Let me open the rest of them. They're on desktop. And I really do need to. Did I only do 3 versions?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. We use this one as a base, and basically we're going to do this like we did before. We've got 3 layers, like we got 3 layers before from SketchUp. These are just not SketchUp, so to do that I would duplicate the first layer. I'm going to go ahead and turn it off, and I'm just going to copy these, select all, edit, copy, go back to the original one, say edit, paste, make a new layer. Everybody remembers this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I think what I want to do is invert one of these. Let's see what happens when we do overlay. Try subtract. Nothing. See anything. 5. Okay. So now all of the lines are white. That's That's looking a little bit better, right? Voila. Okay, so now we want to bring in kind of the tree line, and one way we might want to do that, because we can still see it, we can kind of still see where all these trees are. Okay, I'm going to make a new layer. See if I can pick these dark greens. How can I use the magic wand to pick just the darker greens in this thing?
Lower the tolerance.
Lower the tolerance. That might work. Then what?
Pick some more.
Huh. Easy enough. Perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that off of my original background here. Okay, so that gave us a good shadow line where all our trees are. We can see all our sidewalks, all our architectural elements. And now what I probably want to do is let's jump back to Photoshop and bring in some vegetation elements and some tree elements. Do you see here where this old building is still there, but it's covered up as kind of like a new meadow? That's okay, we haven't done any of our design stuff yet. The thing about this is just the existing site. So let's go and see what options we have for tree from above Photoshop. More options than I kind of thought we would have. It looks like a lot of them are Shutterstock or something like that. That one looks pretty good because there's a variety of size. You remember being out there? So there is gray. We're going to have to de-copyright this thing. I didn't do that, by the way. I'm going to de-copyright it. If I just go ahead and paste it, should make the new layer, which is the tree layer. Coincidentally, it's the right size. So what they're trying to do here with this gray is make your magic wand useless. so that you can't pick the gray, but we still can. It's hard to see it's hard to see if we've been successful. So let's zoom out and drag it over something dark and see if we missed anything. Oh yeah, we missed lots. I see a few letters that we should probably clean up. We can probably use this universally, so we'll just spend a second. I thought I saw an S. There it is. Alright, this has been decopyrighted. Okay. So do you remember on our drawings we did kind of all the existing trees versus the new trees? So we might want to do that here. And I'm going to go ahead and call this one, I'm going to duplicate the layer so I have 2 here. And I'll rename so that I can keep track. How do I rename? Do you just click on it?
Double click.
Oh, there we go. I'm going to say existing trees, and then I'll say new trees. So how does Revit show existing versus new?
Black and white.
It kind of makes the existing stuff in a gray tone so the new stuff stands forward. So let's do something like that. How might we do that?
Black and white.
Let's go image, adjust, and we can go hue saturation, and we can desaturate it. Now rather than making it go all the way black and white, I think that'll be confusing. Let's just desaturate it a bit, like halfway, and make it a little bit lighter. Alright. We've made pretty good selections. These trees are about the right size. Now, this part might be a little bit tedious, but I am just going to duplicate and shift. Duplicate and shift. I don't really care if they overlap. I just don't want it to look too mechanical. So once I do this maybe 6 times, so it's trying to line them up, and I'm really trying to get it to not line them up. How can I put all of these on one layer?
Merge down.
Merge down. I did learn something this semester. So now I have a much bigger group of trees, so now I can do this kind of 6 more times.
Is there a reason to not just copy and paste? Control V.
I don't know, let's try it. It's just not a pattern my fingers are used to, I guess. Yes, there is, because I need to go select all, Control C, select, well, maybe I can just do Control V right away and drag. Yeah, you can do it that way. I can just hit Control V. Yeah, that seems easier.
Yeah.
It's not keeping the tree layer, but it's just not a pattern I'm used to. Maybe I can get used to that pattern.
It still makes a new layer every time.
Yeah, automatically does them.
Okay. I can definitely get into that. And maybe I need to be a little bit more careful where there's just a few of them and just copy a couple of those trees around. And I've lost my individual existing tree layer, which kind of is not great right now because whatever. Now I want to find my new tree. New trees are on. You can go select all, Control C, Control V. There's some of my new trees. See how they're kind of full color trees? I think that's pretty good. Got some in here. I'm just gonna paste them where I need them, merge them, and then erase the ones that are in the way. Since I'm kind of doing 3 at a time. You can actually make design decisions while you're doing this and then kind of go back and incorporate them into Revit. So if it's not done in Revit, that doesn't mean you shouldn't not consider it here. Go ahead and consider it here, and then when we get back to Revit, you can start to fold those elements in where your new plantings are. All right, I'm done with that. And I can use my auto select to kind of get at these ones that are right in my way. Yeah, I know. You remember this thing will drive you nuts if you're not in control of it? So I've got to pick on it first, then I can cut it out. Pick on it first. I'll be able to cut it out. Okay?
Okay.
I'm going to take all of my trees and put them on one layer real quick. What do you think the easiest way to do that is?
Hide all the stuff that's buildings and things and just take the trees.
That's right, just like Revit. Now I can say select all, edit, copy merge, edit, paste. And I wanted to do that because I actually wanted a shadow. So here I'll go image, adjust, exposure. Let's go ahead and make them dark. Give them a blur. Make them transparent. And drop them back.
Would you merge all those layers you have?
I might, but I think it would just take too much time. I wouldn't want to waste the time doing that. Okay, so we need a north arrow. Your labels are all done in Revit, so we don't really have to do much here.
What if they don't show up? Because I know mine did.
Then you've done something wrong. You've got the wrong view on your sheet. If you on your drawing view can see the labels and then on the sheet you can't, that means the view you're looking at on the sheet isn't the same view you're working on. So just delete it and drag in the new one. Ooh, that one's nice.
Why would the labels be really small on drawing view?
The labels are annotated, so when you set the scale, they should be perfect. So this is if they're too big, you've got the wrong scale on the text. So let's just look. So if I click on this is 3/32 inch. That's appropriate. The 1/4 inch is bigger. But it basically, when this is at a 1/4 inch, that means that letter will be a 1/4 inch tall on the sheet of paper. When that says 3/32, that letter will be 3/32 inch tall on the piece of paper. So here it says 3/32 in Photoshop. That is 3/32. This is a 24 by 36 inch. So that'll always be the right size. What was I just doing? I just did something.
North arrow.
Oh, north arrow. I might add the label on the street. I can also just do that in. So I need to show new grassland and meadow. Basically, I've got my new trees in, but I don't have any new landscaping in. And this is I think a really simple trick that you do at the very end. I'm designing new landscaping here. I'm doing some in here, and I'm doing some here. Maybe there'll be some around that, but I've got these few areas that I think are important to me. So I'm gonna go back to that grass image, maybe this one looks fine. And I'm gonna try to highlight these layers, and I'm gonna show you the color burn, the color dodge tool, which I don't know if we used before. This is just gonna give us a little bit different green, and honestly, we can just change the scale of it. Control T changes the scale. So I'm just going to kind of make a mat here. Merge those down. Change that opacity where I can see through everything. I'm going to use my eraser tool. Fuzzy edges, probably. Bigger. Whoa, too big. Alright, that looks good. And I'm going to do 100% eraser first. Basically, I'm going to go and erase all this grass where I don't want it. I could have also just not pasted it in to an area that I didn't want it. But you see how it kind of gives us an edge around this stuff? Sidewalks and stuff, it kind of builds up.
Couldn't you just use the magic wand on another layer and then grab
And
the stuff?
subtract it, I can. I can. I don't know if it might be a little bit faster. All right, so it's not standing out enough for me that's kind of new territory. I probably would do some over there too. So what can I do? I can image adjust. I can make it brighter. That's starting to look a little better. Get a nice texture there. Maybe I overdid it because of the opacity. See how those buildings underneath there are gone? Okay, and we can use I need to get it set under the trees, by the way. It's still on top of the trees, but we can use the burn and dodge tool to lighten things up. So I'm going to lighten it up in the middle with the dodge tool. I'm going to make a bigger brush here, 34%. Use that one. So that's making it lighter in the middle. So I can kind of define zones. So I can get a little bit of variation. As soon as I'm done with that, I'll just drag it It's layer 39. I need to get it under all those trees. Looks like I'm almost there.
Yeah.
Okay. And it looks like I just need to erase a few other little bits of it. That's what I want. So does that look like the ones that they're still up here. They were in one of these guys. Oh, our white lines aren't very prominent. Our topography, is it gone? What happened to it? Still there. Which one is that on? Not that one.
Yeah, that one.
So,
That looks better, doesn't it? What was it? Oh yeah, that's that. I'm sorry, we forgot that step. That's looking pretty good. See how it's kind of coming in over the trees now? Okay, but I need to get rid of all this white space, so I ought to be able just to take it. Help me. How can I subtract this off my plan?
go to one that's more visible, and then
I can't do similar, right? Because
No.
similar is going to take.
you go to another layer with the same building.
I don't know which one. Let's change it to normal and see if I can just. Oh man. Well, I can get these real easily, right? Because they're.
Would you just have to cut out your floor plan and then paste it on top? Or?
That seems like too much work for me.
Okay.
Which layer was that? This one? I just trace it out. It'll be the hard way, but. I don't like doing this stuff the hard way. Can you tell?
Yeah.
All right, I'm getting a little sloppy, but. You don't have to do white topo lines. You can do black topo lines, but we ought to be able to see them. And maybe I take those two tree layers, and I can turn their opacity down. Those are probably have to merge all those and then turn the opacity down a little bit. There's a lot of them.
But I'll let you know. But like,
I can show you one more trick. This is a fast trick. If I turn off everything that I don't,
and then try to drop off some of the crunch and then like
So that's what I like.
I can't tell where that floor plan is coming in, but that's okay. I can just do merge visible layers. Now it's flattened this down to about 5 layers. And I've messed it up. Don't do that. Looks like I've ruined this thing.
I guess I'm just gonna stop at that. Oh,
You got his mojo back.
thank you. Right
Whatever.
the whole time?
Here we are, I'm done.
What was the point of that layer?
I was trying to get the white lines over the trees. So what I would need to do is collapse the trees and give them some transparency. That's all I was trying to do. So this thing should be what I would describe as artfully done. Make sense? Should be beautiful. You can title your project, put a title on it. It's a big part of your design. So on that criteria that's on the last one, the site, and relationship to things, and utilization of the site, so your site plan is a big deal. So if you don't have your site plan really well worked out yet, you need to focus on it right away. So Friday's a really big due date. I think 30% of your grade could be determined on Friday for the project. And on Monday next week, what are we starting on?
Roofs?
Buildings, all the building components. So on Monday, we'll be back in Revit and I'll show you how to work out the details of your buildings. Nobody knows how to do that yet because we can't get there until this is done. Are there any questions about Revit?